Have you ever woken up with a feeling deep in your bones that the day ahead holds something special? Not a grand adventure, perhaps, but a quiet, perfect sort of magic. That's how it felt this morning. As your eyes fluttered open, the world outside was wrapped in a soft, silvery autumn mist. The kind that clings to the fields and makes the trees look like watercolor paintings. But above it, the sky was a crisp, promising blue. By the time you dressed and made your way downstairs, the sun was already winning its battle, burning through the haze and casting long golden fingers of light across the kitchen floor. It was the perfect day for the village fete. For weeks, this day had been a quiet hum in the background of your life. There were countless cozy afternoons spent in the old lady's cottage, the air thick with the scent of bubbling sugar and fruit, her cheerful chatter filling the small kitchen. Sometimes she would come to your place instead, bringing a basket of windfall apples or a punnet of late-season raspberries. You remember one particularly lovely morning spent at the grand old manor, helping its kind owner pick plums from the orchard, the branches so heavy with ripe, purple fruit they drooped all the way to the ground. All that gentle work, all those shared moments of laughter and stirring had been leading to this. Today, your own little jars of jellies and jams, gleaming like jewels, would have their moment at the fete. It was a day for the whole village to come together, a slow, unhurried celebration of the harvest and of each other. Autumn had arrived softly this year, not with a sudden storm, but with a gentle sigh. It had tiptoed through the haven, brushing the leaves with strokes of amber, gold, and fiery red. Yet the sun still carried a tender warmth, a sweet memory of the summer just gone. Just as you were finishing your tea, you saw the old lady making her way up the lane, a familiar, welcome sight. Her timing, as always, was impeccable. It truly was a perfect autumn day, that delicious in-between where you don't need a heavy coat, but the air feels crisp and new. A gentle clop of hooves announced the arrival of the pony trap, sent to collect your precious cargo. The driver, a friendly chap with a warm smile, carefully loaded the boxers of jars, promising to set up your stall beautifully so that you and the old lady wouldn't have to carry a single heavy basket. It meant you could enjoy the walk to the village, a small pleasure you were both looking forward to as the pony trotted away down the lane, its silhouette shrinking into the bright morning. You locked your cottage door and set off, crossing the little stile into the woods. The path was a dappled carpet of light and shadow. A few stubborn wildflowers, little sparks of purple and yellow, still bloomed defiantly in the clearings. You could hear this stream long before you saw it, swelled by the recent rains that had washed down from the moors. Its voice was deeper now, a resonant murmur compared to its light, summery chuckle. The air itself felt different, sharper. The lush green scent of summer growth had faded, replaced by the rich, earthy perfume of damp soil and fallen leaves. It was a scent that made you think of crackling bonfires on chilly evenings, of the first glitter of frost on the grass, of mugs of hot chocolate cupped in cold hands. But there was no frost just yet, and the leaves were still clinging to their branches, a final, glorious blaze of color before the fall. You walked beneath a magnificent canopy of bronze and gold, the world bathed in a warm, honeyed light. A pheasant, its feathers iridescent in the sun, strutted brazenly across the path ahead before disappearing into the undergrowth. Where the sunbeams managed to pierce through the thick leaves, the light seemed to take on a tangible quality, as if you could reach out and touch the shimmering columns of gold. Deeper in the wood, in its own silent glade, stood the great oak. As you always did, you both paused your conversation and simply stood before it, observing. It was vast, ancient, its enormous branches reaching out like wise, comforting arms. You always felt a sense of profound peace here, a feeling that you were in the presence of a living, breathing friend, a silent guardian of the woods. As you moved on, leaving the oak to its serene vigil, you talked quietly with the old lady, your footsteps a soft crunch on the path. Soon, you emerged from the trees and into the wide, open field that held the standing stones. From here, you could see across the valley to the fairy wood. It wasn't really that far away, but it always seemed to possess a strange, untouchable distance, as if it belonged to another world. A vast, wild forest from an old tale. You knew from the old lady that very few people were ever invited to walk its hidden paths. You had a quiet suspicion that she was one of them, and perhaps the kind gentleman from the manor, too. But it was a mystery you never pushed, a piece of local magic best left unspoken. And just as you were wondering about those distant, untrodden paths, you saw him, standing perfectly still at the very edge of the wood. So white he seemed to glow was the great stag. It was a breathtaking sight. The world seemed to hold its breath. You and the old lady instinctively stopped, and in a shared moment of reverence, you both slowly nodded your heads in acknowledgement. In a gesture of impossible grace, the magnificent creature lowered its antlered head in response, before melting back into the shadows of the trees. Seeing this stag always felt like a sign, a quiet message from the haven itself. You made a mental note to look at your map of the area tomorrow. The old lady's eyes twinkled, a knowing, conspiratorial gleam in them, and without another word, you continued on your way, the warmth of the sun on your shoulders. As you walked past the ancient silent stones and through the kissing gate that led onto the village street, the fete was in full swing. Colorful stalls with bright little awnings lined the cobbled street, creating a cheerful, bustling corridor of activity. You had been to plenty of fairs here before, as a visitor, a browser, but this was the first time you'd had a stall of your own. A little thrill of pride and nervousness fluttered inside you. The driver of the pony trap was just putting the finishing touches to your display. He'd done a wonderful job. Your jars were arranged beautifully in little wickerwork trays, their handwritten labels all facing forwards. He gave you a nod and a wave before leading the pony away, calling over his shoulder that he'd be back later to drive you both home. Villagers were already milling about, and you were immediately caught up in a wave of friendly greetings. It took a few moments to return all the hellos and cheerful waves before you could finally step behind your stall. You tweaked a few jars here and there, and were delighted to see a chair had been tucked behind the table. A thoughtful touch. Before you'd even had a chance to properly settle, the local shopkeeper appeared, bustling over with 2 steaming mugs of tea, one for you and one for the old lady. He admired your display, declaring your plum jam looked good enough to win a prize. Soon, a steady stream of people began to wander between the stalls, their baskets gradually filling with local treasures. Two of the stalls were dedicated entirely to baked goods. One was piled high with savory treats, the irresistible smell of freshly baked bread filling the air. The other was a sweet paradise of biscuits, fluffy scones, and delicate shortbread. It wasn't long before people started making the connection. It was lunchtime. After all, the perfect excuse to buy a warm bread roll or a freshly baked scone and ask for a generous dollop of your jam to go with it. A smile spread across your face as you heard their delighted praise. You remembered the afternoon you'd picked the blackberries for that very jam, your finger stained purple in a sun-drenched thicket, the air buzzing with bees. Every compliment felt like a shared success. Watching everyone else enjoying their food made you realize just how hungry you were. Knowing the fate would be full of delicious things to eat, you'd only had a very light breakfast. The old lady, seeing the look on your face, shooed you away with a wave of her hand, insisting she could look after the stall for a while. You thanked her gratefully and set off to explore. The scents were incredible. There were cheeses, creams, and yogurts from the local farms, decadent cakes from the shopkeeper, and crates overflowing with fresh fruit and vegetables. Pickles stood in huge glass jars, and a rich, hearty soup simmered in a steaming pot. Someone had even lit a small barbecue, and the smoky scent of charcoal drifted lazily on the still autumn air. The little garden next to the shop had been opened up for people to sit and eat. You found a free bench and settled down with your lunch, a thick slice of cheese, a crusty roll still warm from the oven, and a small bowl of soup. You ate slowly, savoring every delicious bite, just taking your time and soaking in the wonderful, happy atmosphere of the day. When you returned to your stall, feeling wonderfully content, you saw that nearly all of your jars had gone. The very last pot was being placed carefully into the wicker basket of the old gentleman from the manor. He greeted you with a warm, kindly smile. "I think I was very lucky to get this last one," he said, his voice gentle. "I shall have it with scones and clotted cream tomorrow. A proper treat." Then his eyes twinkled, much like the old lady's. "I also came with a purpose," he added. "The manor has been shut up for far too long. Now that I am home for good, I mean to revive an old tradition. I would be absolutely delighted if you and our dear friend here would attend the winter dance." You thanked him and accepted immediately. The thought of a dance in the old manor was thrilling. The old lady simply nodded and smiled. You could tell from her expression that this wasn't news to her at all. You made another mental note. Ask her about this winter dance later. For now, with your duties at the stall complete, you took the opportunity to have a proper look at the other stalls. It wasn't all food. There were incredible local crafts, hand-thrown pottery with earthy glazes, beautiful watercolor paintings of the haven, and candles and soaps made from local beeswax that smelled of honey and wildflowers. There was jewelry, too, delicate pieces of silver and sea glass. Your own basket grew steadily heavier as you strolled from stall to stall, quietly browsing and chatting with the makers. The afternoon began to slip gently into evening. The sky, which had been so brilliantly blue, started to blush with the soft pinks and oranges of the approaching sunset. You rejoined the old lady and the gentleman from the manor for a hot, spiced apple drink from a large, steaming cauldron. It warmed you from the inside out, a welcome heat as the warmth of the day began to fade into the distinct coolness of an autumn evening. Looking up, you could already see 1 or 2 stars beginning to prick the deepening twilight. All around you, stallholders began to pack away their wares, and then, right on cue, you heard the familiar, gentle clop-clop of the pony trap making its way back up the street. The driver hopped down and began to dismantle your stall with quiet efficiency, explaining he'd keep the table and trays with the others in the village hall until you needed them again. Soon, the little street was clear once more, and people, wrapped in the warm glow of a day well spent, began to drift homewards. The driver helped you up onto the trap, followed by the old lady and the gentleman. The trap moved smoothly along the street, past the Odin. Its door was propped open, and a welcoming rectangle of golden light spilled out into the dusk. The innkeeper stood in the doorway, polishing a glass, and he raised a hand to wave as you passed by. To your left, the small harbor was utterly still, the sea as smooth and reflective as glass, its surface tinted with the last beautiful remnants of the sunset. A comfortable silence fell over the three of you. The day was over, and it was a pleasant, happy kind of tiredness that settled upon you. The pony trap turned down the lane that led towards the manor. A few of its windows were warmly lit, looking incredibly inviting against the darkening sky. The old gentleman got down, bidding you both a good night and saying he would see you again very soon. As he walked up the path to his grand front door, the trap turned and carried you back to the lane that curved up towards the old lady's cottage. "I'll see you tomorrow," she said with a knowing grin. You smiled back and agreed, your mind already fizzing with thoughts of unexplored maps and untrodden paths in the fairy wood. Finally, the trap pulled up outside your own gate. Your little house was waiting, a warm and welcoming silhouette against the starry sky. You thanked the driver, slid down from your seat, and opened your own front door. There is no feeling quite like it, is there? The feeling of returning to a home that you love, a place that always seems glad to have you back. You went around the downstairs rooms, drawing the curtains against the night. The soft swoosh of the fabric, a comforting, final sound. And Harriet, you made your way upstairs to your bedroom. After getting ready for bed, you went to the window that faced towards the fairy wood. A thin, pale crescent moon, like a sliver of silver or an archer's bow, was hanging in the sky just above the dark line of the trees. The night was profoundly still and serene. You slipped into bed, pulling the covers up, and lay there, thinking pleasantly about the day, about the kindness of the people here, the easy friendships, the simple joy of it all. You thought about how relaxed and friendly and safe everything feels in this little corner of the world. Then your thoughts drifted to your map of the haven, to the paths you had not yet walked, and to the promise of a winter dance. You closed your eyes, and as you did, you felt the comforting presence of your home and of the haven itself embrace you, guiding you softly and very gently into a deep and peaceful sleep. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your night. May you find deep peace and restful sleep. Wishing you the sweetest dreams. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.